Well, good morning. Welcome to another week of EBC Kids Online. Thank you for taking some time to join me today. I'm actually standing outside of our kids zone and I have some fantastic news to share with you. Guess what? We're reopening churches soon. That means we're gonna have EBC Kids in person again, starting at the end of February. So mark your calendars and save the date and hope that you plan to join us. If not, we're gonna be coming to you every other Sunday for EBC Kids Online. The last couple of weeks, we've been talking about the Bible. The Bible is God's Word, and we've been talking about reading scriptures, about observing what's in God's Word. Last week, we met on EBC Kids on Zoom, and Miss Heidi did a little demonstration about how can you apply God's Word. So she made a sandwich. She had all the ingredients, but if you don't apply the peanut butter or apply the jam, you're not gonna have a sandwich. So you need to take God's Word and start living it out in your life. Today we're talking about prayer. Prayer is a super fun way to talk to God. And the really cool thing about prayer is that you can do it anytime and you can do it anywhere. You're not limited to being in a specific spot or a specific time to pray to God. Today's Bible story talks all about a man who prioritized prayer. His name is Daniel, and we know that he prayed a lot, and he knew how powerful prayer can be. Let's check out this Bible story together.
Stories of the Bible. Daniel in the Lion's Den. This is Daniel.
Oh, hey!
Who was a Jewish man who was taken to Babylon when he was very young.
Yeah.
Daniel loved God and followed God's rules. He talked to God 3 times a day and asked God for help often. Daniel served in the Babylonian king's court for many years.
Yeah, I know him.
And under many kings.
Hey, Daniel.
Daniel always proved himself to be more capable than all the other court officials.
Thanks. Well, anytime.
Daniel was serving under King Darius, and because of his great abilities, the king made plans to place him in charge of the entire empire.
Wow, okay.
The other court officials searched for some fault in Daniel, but they couldn't find anything wrong with him. He was faithful, responsible, and completely trustworthy.
Wait.
The court officials realized the only way to get at Daniel would be to challenge his faith.
Come on.
So they went to King Darius
Excuse me, Your Majesty.
and advised him to make a law that for the next 30 days, any person who prays to anyone except King Darius will be thrown into the lion's den.
I like it.
King Darius signed this law, and once a Babylonian king signed a law, it could not be overruled. When Daniel learned of this law, he went home and knelt down, as he always did, to pray in his room with the windows open towards Jerusalem. He prayed 3 times a day, just as he always had done, giving thanks to God and asking for his help. The officials went to Daniel's house and found him praying.
Gotcha.
They went to the king and reminded him of the law.
I remember.
Well...
Then they said that Daniel had been found praying to God 3 times a day.
What?
When the king heard this, he was very upset,
Get over here.
and he spent the whole day trying to think of a way to save Daniel.
Wait, what?
By that evening, the court officials came back to the king and reminded him that no law signed by the Babylonian king could be overruled. So at last, the king gave orders for Daniel to be thrown into the lion's den. The king said to him, "May your God, who you serve faithfully, rescue you." Then the lion's den was sealed shut with Daniel inside. The king spent the night fasting and couldn't sleep. Then very early in the morning, the king hurried to the lion's den. He called out,
Hey, Daniel!
"Was your God able to rescue you from the lions?" And Daniel answered, "Long live the king! My God sent his angel to shut the lions' mouths so that they would not hurt me, for I have been found innocent in his sight." The king was overjoyed and ordered that Daniel be taken out of the lion's den. Then the king ordered the men who had schemed against Daniel to be thrown into the lion's den as punishment. Daniel was safe. There was not a scratch on him, for he trusted in God.
Wow, I'm so thankful that Daniel prioritized prayer. God helped him and protected him and kept him safe. What a powerful tool prayer can be. Like I said before, you can pray anytime or anywhere for anything. Today, I want you to take some time, and this is going to be a part of this week's challenge. So I'm going to ask you to pick one of these 4 things to pray for. And I want you to tell me what you chose to pray for. If you decide to pray for all 4, you will get 4 points for your team. But I want you to at least pick one. So the different things that we can be praying for are our friends and family, people who don't know Jesus, people in ministry, people who are working to share Jesus with others, or me being yourself. Not me, Miss Erin, but point to yourself, me. I want you to choose one or all of those things to pray for. How can you pray for your friends and your family? Is there somebody in your family that is expecting something exciting and you want to pray and thank God for that? Are one of your friends having a really hard time and you want to ask God and pray that that person will have an easier time and God would be with them? What about praying for people who don't know Jesus? There are lots of people in our communities that don't know Jesus. They don't know the hope and the love and the joy that He can bring into their lives. Will you pray for them today? What about people working in ministry? We know all kinds of people. They're in our church, but they're also in different places in Halifax and even throughout the world who are sharing God's love and sharing the story of salvation with others. Can you think of someone that you know that shares this way in ministry or in missions? And then lastly, will you pray for yourself today? Is there something that you would like to thank God for? Can you thank Him for something that He's doing in your heart or in your life? And then take some time and reflect and think about the things that you're asking God to do or the things that you need. My prayer is that you will take some time and pray for any of these things. And it is just talking to God.
We can pray anytime, anywhere. God hears our prayers. We can pray anytime, anywhere. God hears our prayers. God knows what's best for us, and He is big enough to handle anything that we need.
for joining me again for another week of EBC Kids Online. We've been looking at God's Word, the Bible. Have you been reading God's Word? Have you been learning so much about Him? Are you ready to apply it to your life? And are you ready to pray for yourself, for your friends and family, for somebody in ministry, or for those who don't even know Jesus? I pray as you go throughout this week that you will remember that Jesus is with you and He is for you. In God's Word, He says He's never going to leave you or forsake you. He will always remember you because He loves you and He created you. You guys have an absolutely wonderful and fantastic week. I will see you next time on EBC Kids Online. Bye for now.